And Lord, the fashion. Can we just have a moment of silence for all of the horrendous, expressive fashion choices that were made during one's collegiate career? What's up, bougie bosses? It's your girl, Kayla Simmons, and today I am going to be talking about physical well-being, and this is the final installment of our Let's Talk About College series, so let's just jump right in. This video is not going to be about weight loss or weight gain. That conversation has been had so many times, and so if you want to know all about that, then you can go somewhere else after you finish this video. My favorite part about college, well, one of my favorite parts about college, rather, was the diversity in how people express themselves. I've said numerous times before that I'm from a small state. Columbia is not, I don't want to say, it's a pretty decent sized city, I guess, but compared to a lot of other cities in the US and around the world, it's really not that big. And so obviously small area, small state, small town, however you want to call it, small mind more often than not. And even though I have always loved experimenting with my look and trying new things, I still haven't or didn't do as much as I probably would have liked to do or was exposed to as much, just because people looked at you as if you were weird for being different and doing different things. And even though USC Upstate is also in South Carolina and Spartanburg is a fairly small town, college is a bit of a bubble. And so things that would normally apply outside of that in like the setting surrounding it doesn't really apply as much in school. Like it really is kind of like a bubble. You would have students coming to class in pajamas and teachers teaching with no shoes on, barefoot in the classroom. Like, it was crazy. Also, side note here, you know how in high school when they always tell you that college is going to be so much stricter and like way less tolerant of different things, like let's say if you're late and they'll be like, they wouldn't put up with this in college or blah blah blah, how they're always saying stuff like that. Okay, well, maybe in terms of like behavior and stuff like that, they're not just going to send you to the principal's office or something like that. Like, they'll just kick you off campus or arrest you or something like that. But in terms of like the actual classroom setting, that is so not true. You got teachers that would show up late or not at all, and then if they send out an email about canceling class, like, it's not always even like a legitimate reason. Like, sometimes it's just like, I just don't feel like coming to class today, or I wanted to do this instead, so no class. Honestly, like, that's how lax it is. Oh my God, and they drop F-bombs like no other. I promise you, it's crazy. So yeah, all that stuff they say in high school, most of it's not true when it comes to college. Like, the teachers more often than not are so lax in the workload, for instance. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are some teachers that give you assignments like you ain't got nothing else to do, like you ain't got no other classes on your roster. But for the most part, especially as you go up in rank or classification, they're not going to assign as much work, because most of them, especially in the business school, in my experience, most of them have actual jobs outside of teaching. Like, maybe not like regular 9 to 5 full-time jobs, but they do other things. So this ain't they only responsibility. Not saying that high school teachers or anything, like, obviously they have other responsibilities, but usually that's like their only job. A lot of college professors, like, they may be adjuncts and they may only do it part-time, because college is, it's not like set hours. You could take classes at different times, and so you just have more time to do other things, and a lot of them do that. And so especially as you get older, more often than not, you're not going to have as many assignments. That don't really have much to do with today's topic, but I just thought I'd throw that in there. So back to scheduled programming. I would see a variety of hairstyles. Like, that was one of the first things that stood out to me. I would see black girls with this bright colored hair. I would see white people with dreads. And it's not to say that I never saw that before, but like I said, it was rare, and people just looked at you like you were weird for doing stuff like that. And Lord, the fashion. Can we just have a moment of silence for all of the horrendous, expressive fashion choices that were made during one's collegiate career? Okay, so the fashion was diverse. You had preppy, you had street, you had stoner, you had skater, all of that other stuff. All of those different styles can be in one classroom. And you always know a freshman when you look at their style, because usually freshmen dress a lot more promiscuous because they're trying to prove they're grown and stuff. And so you could always usually by a freshman a mile away, like, ooh, look at me wearing crop tops. Ooh, look at me with my coochie cutters on. Like, ooh, look at me. Like, honestly, you really can't tell because, and it's like, no shade, like, have fun. We've all been there. So, but yeah, like, the fashion was crazy. This was also the time where like experimental makeup was really taking off. So I graduated from high school in May of 2016, went to college August 2016. So I feel like that was kind of a time where like the different like experimental makeup looks were maybe not 2016, maybe starting in maybe 2017, somewhere around that time. That's when the experimental makeup looks and all the like bold colors and stuff and different designs or whatever started really taking off. And that's also where I started really like experimenting. Before, I never used to really wear like eyeshadow like that. Honestly, I didn't really start wearing eyeshadow like that until like my junior year of college. And that's mainly because I didn't really have like all the cool palettes. Like, and I'm not talking about them little palettes with the little paddle thing from the hair store. I'm talking about like the legit palettes that you buy from like Sephora or Ulta or something like that. So yeah, that's when I really started going crazy with like experimenting with bright colors and stuff like that. And obviously, like, as I was coming into my personality and my self identity, like, y'all know I'm extra and I like all the bold and the bright and all the glitz and the glamour and all that good stuff. So that's when I really started experimenting with that. And I started seeing that around me a lot. Like, even it was cool because even like the more reserved people would like dibble and dabble in more like expressive stuff. And you just started seeing like really cool things in terms of hair and makeup and fashion. And if there's one thing that I've noticed throughout my years in college is that feeling good on the outside can be a really big boost for your inner confidence. It doesn't fix everything, but neither does looking basic all the time. So, we gonna struggle in style. And the best part about all of this is the crossovers in terms of connections. Like, you could see a preppy person and a stoner getting lunch together, no problem. Like, it wasn't, college is not really cliquey. Well, some colleges maybe, but mine wasn't. Like, it was just such a diversity in all the friendships that you saw. And I'm a prime example of that. Every friend that I made in college is so different than me, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Now, I know that I made this series for people currently in college or going to college, but I want to just take this time to talk to my fellow 2020 graduates. I know that this isn't how you envision your collegiate journey ending. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said it didn't hurt sometimes still, that I'll never have that moment to walk across the stage and experience graduating in person with my peers who I've worked so hard alongside. But the one thing that's helped me process all of this is just looking at the entire journey instead of just how it ended. I came into college wanting to only be around people who were like me. And now I couldn't imagine myself not being around people who are different than I am. If that isn't the epitome of growth, then I don't know what is. So, as the famous saying goes, don't cry because it ended. Smile because it happened. You are so much more than how everything ended. Look back at all the growth. Like, right now, I'm just flooded with memories of all of the different things that have happened over the last 4 years. And it's just crazy how different of a person I am. I discovered my life's purpose in college. I came into my own in college. I just went through so much in college, and it's just changed my life for the better. And so I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. And I know no one else, people try to empathize and they mean well a lot of times, but no one else really understands how it feels to be in this position. So I know that it's hard, but you have worked so hard to get to this point. Do not let all the stuff going on in the world right now overshadow that. And to all of the people who are currently still in school and who are going to school, let this be a lesson to you to cherish the moment, because you truly never know. Live in the moment, take chances, take risks, put yourself out there. You've got to take the risk and put yourself out there, because if you don't, I promise you, when you look back on your life and it's all said and done and you look back on these years, your biggest regret won't be all of the bad things that happened. Your biggest regret will be not cherishing the moment and taking the chance and being present. So do that. Learn from our experience, learn from everything that's going on in the world right now, and just take everything in, good or bad, because at the end of the day, it's all going to work out for your good. That kind of sounded like a valedictorian speech, and I guess in some ways it kind of was, because this is kind of like me closing the chapter. I won't really be talking about it as much after this. And even though I graduated technically on May 5th, months ago, but we just had our virtual ceremony on August 1st this past Saturday, and I just got my diploma a few days ago as well. So it's kind of all coming to an end. Like, of course, I'll still mention it here and there, but this is kind of just me closing that chapter. So I guess in the way, this is my send-off. This is my tribute to the college years and just going into this next chapter of my life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I hope that it really resonates with every single one of you. I would love it if you let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're not already, as well as click the bell next to it to be notified. I love you so much, bougie bosses, and I will see you next time. Bye.